So this is chapter 27.2, part 2. And we were just discussing the lead time example. And again, that was, we were talking about a group of 6 people entering into a sporting event together as one group. It takes 1 minute to purchase the ticket. And so it would be one person purchasing a ticket and then waiting for the next 5 people to purchase tickets. The value added time, again, to purchase the ticket itself would be 1 minute. The in-batch waiting time we calculated to be 5 minutes. So it's the value added time, which in this case is 1 minute, times the batch size minus 1. So 1 times 5 equals 5. So our non-value added time is 5. Our value added time is 1. So our total time would be 6 minutes. That would be the total lead time for this group, for all 6 people to get into the stadium. If just to give you an example, if everyone could just purchase their ticket and go into the stadium, the batch size was 1, then of course there would be no non-value added time. The value added time would just be 1 minute. Everyone would go in as they purchase the ticket. There'd be no non-value added time, no wasted time. But again, there would have to be, in a production format, there might be a separate setup time that's associated with each one of those batches or people. But obviously the idea is to try to reduce the non-value added time. That's wasted time, wasted money. So let's take a look at a different example. Well, let's assume that we have process A and process B. Let's say these are hours. So process A, let's say, takes 4 hours, and process B takes 5 hours. Let's say that the batch time is 6 units. So we're doing 6 units and it goes to process A. We're doing each unit and then we move them to process B and then we do the 6 units there and then we're done. It takes 3 hours to move them from process A to process B. So for some reason those processes are not very close together. And again, maybe it's because we're focused more on processes than on product, which we talked about earlier. So let's take a look at this. So the value added time, again, the actual time spent converting raw material into finished goods, it really is the processing time. So it's really process A and process B. So it's 4 plus 5 equals 9. So 9 hours is the value added time. So what's the non-value added time? Well, first of all, the non-value added wait time consists of 2 items. Number 1 would be the in-batch wait time, and the second would be the move time. So the in-batch wait time, remember our formula, is going to be the value added time of 9 times the batch size of 6 minus 1. So that's 9 times 5 equals 45. Our move time, we know that that's 3 hours. So we're going to take 3 extra hours to move those from A to B. So our non-value added time is 48. Our total time, of course, is 48 plus 9, or 57. Okay, so that's how we would calculate our value added and non-value added times. Lead times. And if we wanted to calculate our value added percent, we could calculate that as 9 divided by 57, and that would be basically about 16% of our lead time is value added, about 84% is non-value added. So again, if we were looking at that, we would see that that's a relatively high percentage of non-value added time, which of course means money that's potentially being wasted. So what could we do about that? So let's say management went back and took a look at what we could do to try to resolve this. And let's say that we could reduce the processing time in process A to 3 hours from 4 hours. Let's say that process B remained a 5-hour process. Let's say that we could reduce the batch size from 6 down to 4. And let's say that what we did was we looked at moving these processes close together, and we could reduce our move time to 2 hours. So now, if we do this calculation, we see that the value added time is 3 for process A plus 5 for process B. That equals 8 hours. And our non-value added time would be calculated as follows. Our in-batch wait time would be our value added time of 8 times our batch amount minus 1. So that would be 8 times 4 minus 1. 8 times 3 is 24. And our move time is now 2. And so that gives us a total of 26 hours of non-value added time. Add that to the 8 of value added, total of 34. And now the 8 divided by the 34 total is approximately 24%. So we've made some improvement in terms of the value added time relative to the total lead time by making some changes. And again, what we can do is try to reduce the move time, which of course is which has a lot to do with the amount of non-value added time. Clearly, the amount of the batch size will have a big impact, but again, that has to be looked at relative to the setup time and the setup costs. That's a trade-off there. And of course, reducing the time for each of the processes. If those processes can be somehow joined together to the extent possible and eliminate the move time and reduce the total time of the process, then that could be a tremendous increase in overall lead time. So that's basically an illustration of how this could be improved. So along with lean manufacturing principles comes the lean accounting. And lean accounting is designed to streamline the accounting in this lean manufacturing environment. The first thing we want to do is reduce the number of transactions. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to pull costs directly into finished goods. So costs are going to go directly into finished goods products. And therefore what that's going to do is it's going to reduce or eliminate materials and work in process inventories. So again, streamlining the number of transactions. We don't have entries into work in process, then materials, then materials into work in process. What we really do is just have costs being entered into finished goods product costs. directly. And we can do that because we are minimizing our materials and our work in process inventories, because we're manufacturing on a lean basis and a just-in-time basis. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to combine accounts. So what we're going to do is, instead of having raw materials or materials plus work in process, we're going to combine those into what's called raw and in-process inventory. So RIP inventory, raw and in-process inventory. So we're going to combine basically the materials and the work in process inventory into one account, so streamlining those accounts. We're also going to try to emphasize non-financial measures. So we're going to look at lead times, like we did, value added, non-value added. We're going to look at setup times. We're going to look at waste, scrap, other measures of quality. So we're going to use those heavily in terms of determining performance measurement. And finally, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to try to eliminate some of the more judgmental aspects of factory overhead. And we talked about before the fact that employees are going to be performing multiple tasks, and they're going to be more product focused. If that's the case, then what we can do with a lot of indirect labor is directly assign that to products. So we don't have to go through an allocation process for that. So we've minimized a big portion of factory overhead that does need to be allocated. So that can be very helpful in eliminating a lot of the accounting relative to factory overhead allocation. So let's take an example of how this can work with a more streamlined accounting system. So let's just assume that our budgeted conversion costs, and by the way, conversion costs are going to be direct labor and factory overhead. Okay, so this is direct labor plus factory overhead. So we're not going to draw a distinction between the two anymore. Those are going to be combined. And in this particular case, let's say that it's $2,400,000 for this particular product. We've also got the planned hours of production, and let's say that's 1,920 hours. And so we're going to come up with our cell conversion rate. And what we're going to do is we're really talking about product cells. So we're going to be focusing on products versus processes. So our product cell, and I should make note of that. So our product cell conversion rate is just going to be the 2.4 million divided by the 1.9, and that's going to give us a total amount of, if we divide those two, would be $1,250 per hour. And I'm going to come back on the next part and we'll finish this up.